Welcome, everyone. I'm Mary Lear.
And I'm Adrian Antonio, and welcome to The Surface. We're so pleased to see that there are audience members who weren't scared off 2 weeks ago, and some brand new faces.
If you didn't catch our first episode, that's no problem. You'll catch up pretty quick, and if you decide that you do want to watch our very first episode, you can watch it anytime you want on the SCPA Mainstage Hub. Just head over to sdscpamainstage.com, and you can find a link to our premiere episode under the Student Series page.
We just ask that you finish watching this episode first.
Now, I don't have a speaker system installed in my house or a student telling me, I love you so much. I miss the structure of morning announcements that we used to get. So we like to start every episode with some announcements. Adrian, can you tell us what's going on above the surface?
My pleasure, Mary. We may be in a pandemic, but the busy students of SCPA are keeping our school active. ASB's freshman class will be starting their fundraiser with Dinky National City next week on the 28th and will continue on through March 6th. Show the flyer shown on your screen right now or on their class Instagram at SDSCPA24 to the cashier so your purchase counts towards the fundraiser. Juniors and seniors, there will be a joint class meeting on March 1st at 6 p.m. regarding Juniors versus Seniors Week. Make sure to be there, but watch The Surface first at 5. More information can be found on at SDSCPA21 or at SDSCPA22. ASB CPD Committee will be hosting a movie night this coming Friday, where we will watch Academy Award-winning film Ratatouille, starring SCPA alum Lou Romano. If you enjoy trivia games, join Academic League. SDSCPA's Academic League is open to all students and meets Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3:30 to 4:30 with matches against other schools on Thursdays at 7 p.m. This week, Academic League is facing Cathedral Catholic. Follow their Instagram at SDSCPA Academic League and join the Remind at SCPAAC. That's all for what's been going on above the surface, Mary.
Awesome. Sounds great, Adrian. So the purpose of The Surface is to highlight student voices. It's more difficult than ever to connect from home, so we wanted to create a space where students can communicate with each other.
Yeah, I don't talk to nearly as many people as I used to on campus. I only really see my close friends and classmates nowadays, and even then it's confined to the little boxes we see right now.
Yes, same here. So that meant that first semester, I was pretty much only seeing other musical theater majors.
That sounds like a nightmare. I'm kidding, but Mary and I are both performing arts majors. She's a musical theater major and I'm a vocal major. So as many of you know, we're very noisy. This week, we wanted to spend some time talking about the majors who make less noise.
Yes, exactly. So each week we send out a survey to students to get their opinions on SCPA culture. So this week we tried to find out if students think that there are certain advantages given to different majors. Adrian, do you think that some majors get more attention than others?
First of all, just when I think of that question, I think of my own experience as a music major. I am a vocal artist studying in the vocal program with the music major at SCPA, and it's been a wonderful experience. We have 2 wonderful teachers spearheading my department, specifically Mr. Ramey and Ms. Samuels. They're doing a great job. But do I think we get more attention than others? I think music, we get enough opportunities to express ourselves on campus. I think we get enough concerts. I think we get enough opportunities to really show who we are as a group. And I think it's awesome. What about you?
You know, I'm a musical theater major, and there are plenty of jokes made about oh, we're the noisiest major, we take up a lot of space, and I do think that that's true. I think that we are very, very loud and stuff, but I just feel so incredibly lucky. I love how much support there are for the main stage musicals and stuff, and I just feel like we've been really supported really well as loud as we are.
Yeah, but let me just make this clear. It is a bit ironic to ask 2 performing arts majors about this. So let's go below the surface and see what you, the audience at home, had to say.
And make sure to stick around and find out how you can take our surveys and get featured on The Surface.
Our first question was simple. What did you guys think is the most well-known major? We got 12 votes for musical theater, 7 for dance, 5 for jazz or music, and 4 for acting. Only 1 person thought majors were equally recognized, which isn't really a good thing. The first thing I noticed about this is that nobody mentioned a creative art form, which is a bummer.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So we also asked if there were inequalities between majors. Many students said that they believe that musical theater majors are given extra attention and resources. One student says, I feel like they can afford more things like costumes, sets, and lights compared to the visual arts department, where it's difficult to get a tube of paint sometimes. And that's not the only comment that we received about art supplies for this survey. Another person said that art majors are, for the most part, have to rely on the art teachers to purchase supplies or find sponsorships that will help pay for our school supplies. I think that there have been so many jokes made about like how underfunded public schools are, but it is pretty upsetting that you wouldn't have access to your necessary stuff. Like, I think that it's pretty hard to work in an art class without any art supplies.
I completely agree. So there are clearly some people upset about equal representation, but it's not even just about unequal funding. Several students say that creative majors are not given the same publicity, which is very important. Someone says there are events and traditions put in place to assure that every major gets their opportunity to have center stage, such as the anthology or art shows. However, I do feel that there is still disparity between the support or advertisement that these projects get compared to other dance shows or musicals.
Got a little British there for a second with the pronunciation.
Weird.
Speaking of anthology, we're so excited to talk to you about tonight's guest. They're a senior, they're a creative writing major, and a very dear friend to both of us. We are so excited to bring in the incomparable Bella Nazur.
Hi, Adrian. Hi, Mary.
Hi. Thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem.
Before we start off, just tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, as they already introduced me, I'm a senior creative writing major. I've been at SCPA since 6th grade, which means I've been there a very long time, as I'm now 17. Creative writing was actually my second choice major when I applied for high school. However, I ended up loving it a lot more than I think I ever would have liked orchestra.
Great. So we wanted to start off by asking, what do you love about the creative writing curriculum?
I would say that creative writing is an incredibly small major, like really small, like smaller than vocal major small. And that isn't always the greatest thing, but it does give way to a lot of community and collaboration within the people that you end up experiencing your high school years with. And I think that's something that you can't really get in every other major at the same level you can in creative writing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That intimacy must be like really, really helpful with such a like personal art form. Absolutely. So we wanted to ask you the same question we asked in our survey, which is, do you think that some majors get more attention than others?
Yeah, actually, absolutely. They definitely do get different amounts of attention. But that's just because people have different interests. I will admit, even though I'm a really avid reader and I love going over my friends' stuff to edit, musical theater is a pretty entertaining thing, and the jazz majors are really talented, and the dance majors are also really talented. So I would say that there's a difference in the sort of publicity for each one, but that's just because sometimes it's more accessible to find a dance major like, yo, can I watch? And they're just like, yes. Because also when you're a performing arts major, your entire thing is you have to build up confidence. And with creative writing majors, we kind of just build up our skills and then have to realize, oh man, we need some confidence. And we don't really know how to build that up most of the time.
Yeah, that makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah. I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent here. When you say like what you said earlier about how you build up different skills, like could you share what some of those skills are, like with your writing?
Well, throughout all of the years in creative writing, you learn basically every skill that there is. You have to take journalism courses, and then you end up learning poetry as well as script writing, which we actually collaborate with the video majors for. During the one semester, we focus specifically on script writing. Then we also do fiction, obviously, and then nonfiction, which is not a very favorite thing in the major. no one really likes talking about themselves, and it reminds us a lot of college essays. But literally everything you think is compiled within the English language is something you're going to learn in creative writing, and it ends up helping you out a lot in all of your other courses because you get pretty snappy and quick with your writing in general. And I think that's
so do you think there's like any misconceptions that are given to creative writing majors? Like, are there any stereotypes that are just like wrong?
I mean, pretty much all of us do wear glasses. Not all of us are smart, though. That's not a call out for anyone specifically. That's just sometimes we don't do the smartest things. Half the time, if someone swears that they write out their plot to whatever they're writing, they're lying, but sometimes they're not. No one writes anything by hand unless they're crazy, because that's a lot of writing.
Thank you for being candid. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting how you say like different majors just like naturally present themselves in different ways that'll like change attention. Like you do think about like curling up and like reading a nice book, and like it's a very like introverted activity where like no one is really like, oh, I'm gonna go into like a warm cozy room and then do like a quadruple pirouette. Like that does make no sense, you know. So you were saying that like with creative writing, you really cover everything in the English language. And Adrian and I heard some rumors that some creative writing classes are being changed to English credits rather than artistic credits. Do you think that this will help strengthen the major? Do you think that this is detrimental to like the artistic aspect? What are your thoughts on this?
I don't hear too much about that because it's not applicable to me anymore, but I think that's a really good step forward in improving creative writing scope and sequence, because when one major moves forward, most majors move forward. And if you no longer have to take redundant courses, which a lot of the seniors have taken, I remember taking 4 English courses in a single year, and God, that was a lot. But I think that's a really good step forward for a lot of the underclassmen, because then that gives them opportunities to possibly take courses that they're interested in outside of their major, which would then lead to sort of branching out and a lot of collaboration, I think, as a huge potential offshoot of just trying to tweak things around to make it more effective and efficient.
Yeah, it's awesome that, you know, you're finally getting some weighted arts classes. I know that for me as a music major, we've had AP Music Theory, and that's been a good it's been a good GPA booster. It helps us keep us competitive for colleges. And you know, I sympathize with the majors that don't really have the weighted classes yet. I'm pretty sure art majors have like 2 weighted classes, so good for them, I guess. But you know, we definitely need to start making things equal for everyone, so that we're all being competitive for colleges and conservatories and every other post-secondary institution.
Mm-hmm. I heard that we are working towards getting like more weighted classes in the future for like all different majors, which I think will be really, really helpful in the college application process, like you were saying.
Yes, definitely. So, Bella, now that we just answered the previous question, do you find that this like opens the doors for new opportunities, or like do you think it limits creativity since it's being shifted away from an artistic credit to an English-based credit?
Well, from what I have heard is that it wouldn't be just like an English course. It would still be essentially a creative writing course, just with the English credit, to where you don't have to take an English course where you would be analyzing like a heavy book you don't want to read, as opposed to where you go through a ton of workshops and sort of recursive practice in order to become an overall better writer. And I mean, if it was just the bye-bye creative writing and then you take an English class, yeah, that would be a little regressive, but we're all for moving forward, not taking a step back.
That's great to hear.
Yeah. So just before you head out, is there anything that like you wish that you had known when you were like a 9th grade creative writing major or something? Like what do you like wish that somebody had told you? You
really, 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 really should not procrastinate on your writing. And you're going to have to write things you don't want to, but that applies to all subjects, because sometimes you don't want to write a lab report, but you're going to have to. Otherwise, I would say my biggest thing is you're going to lose people in your major, not because they die or anything, but just because they decide, you know what, I think I found something better. But in the end, no matter how much time passes, you're going to get close to the people who you still have with you, regardless of major, actually, for that.
Yeah. Now, Bella, before you leave, I have a question that needs to be addressed. So, for those of you that don't know, Mary, Bella, and I shot a promo video a couple days ago that we posted on our Instagram at thesurface.scpa. Bella, you said something that interested me, and Mary and I, we were having a bit of a banter between us about what's the superior major, and we asked for an independent third party, and you, a creative writing major, didn't say creative writing. You said art, and that's been keeping me up at night. So I need to know why.
First off, I would like to say I'm not egotistical enough to put my own major on a pedestal. And second, the art majors are incredibly talented, and they have a lot of different forms that they can do, whether it's 2D or 3D, or they literally just do online design. Having that sort of set would be is really admirable. And if art wasn't the best major, I still would not answer any of our majors. It would be video at that point.
That's so true, though. And you'll see in a bit when we show some art from two great art majors later. I'm excited for everyone to see that.
Thank you so much for joining us, Belle. You said some really incredible things. We really appreciate you coming and joining us.
Yeah, Bella, you're the best. Thank you so much for coming on The Surface.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Well, that's enough from a creative major. That's why they shouldn't be able to talk. Let's get back to us, the performers, right, Mary?
Yes. Yes.
I'm kidding. There's clearly some tension regarding the representation of creative artists here at SCPA. But what can we do to look ahead and fix that?
So many students said that the best place to start is by asking students to contribute more for main stage decisions. We got a few people saying that if students could help decide things like theme and what pieces will be presented for the main stage season, that they'll feel more supported. Another student suggested that there should be more crossover within the departments, starting with teachers collaborating more. I think that would be great. We were talking the other day and I was saying that one of the best things about SCPA is how different majors come together and work. If you're in a science class and have to do a presentation, it's great to have a theater major who's willing to go up and present while the art major is down to draw the graphs and stuff. It's amazing.
Yeah, my little sister, she's an art major, and whenever she's in a group project, she's always like, I can do cursive for everyone, on the poster boards, which I think is amazing. And then, yeah, I completely agree. In the past 2 years, our shows let's move on though. In the last 2 years, our shows in the Florence Johnson Grand Theater have used a cyclorama that projects text, images, and videos during performances. I think that would be a great time to give visual art majors a chance to work on a more publicized project. SCPA senior Sam Williamson suggested, provide more opportunities for students to showcase their art through small galleries or portfolio showcases where they can display their art to the public and their peers. I know I've had my fair share of vocal concerts that weren't a part of the main stage season, so it'd only be fair to extend that mindset to other majors.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it would be great to increase showcase opportunities, just in general. Main stage shows are very expensive and difficult to plan out and stuff. So it'd be great to just add several smaller events that can promote and highlight underrepresented majors. Come on, let's get some more cafecitos in here, guys.
For sure. Several people also came up with the idea to support majors through campus spirit. That's a bit of SCPA patriotism will go a long way.
Yes.
Beyond showcasing opportunities, someone suggested that each month we celebrate a different major.
Hey, Adrian, one person hurt my feelings in their response for this question.
Good. I'm kidding.
Don't be rude. Anyway, I think that your feelings need to be hurt too, because somebody said that the school should be creating an SCPA newspaper for the students to be talking about different school events or performances happening. So the students would be the ones writing or making a video and not the adults. I'm offended. I thought that that's exactly what we were trying to accomplish with the Surface. You know, jokes aside, I actually think that a newspaper would be amazing. You know, like a student-run newspaper is the perfect fit for interdisciplinary collaboration that we were talking about.
Yeah, like creative writing majors, they could, you know, do the editing and writing, and visual artists, like they could like design the stuff and with the typography and stuff like that. And photo majors, of course, they can take pictures, and like film majors and music majors, they could do like music and film reviews, like in like columns, like an editorial. That'd be so cool, you know. And then like if we get really creative, the tech majors can build like stands on the campus, which I think that'd be super cool. You know, maybe we should have done a newspaper instead.
No. But, you know, we still haven't discussed the most popular response when we asked for solutions.
Right. Many students wish that there was just more transparency with funding and scheduling.
Yeah, I know that a lot of the reasons that people feel like there's inequalities is just because of conversations. Like I've personally heard things where people have said that the way that donations work for funding, people can make their donations out to one specific major. So they can be like, oh, I just want this money to go towards musicals, which would make sense why some majors get more funding than others if it can only be used for certain things. So I think that like transparency about how funding is broken down or received would really just make students feel like they're more supported and less in the dark.
Yeah, when we're all in the dark, you know, we start making assumptions, and assumptions like they go so far, and we just want to be all on the same page. Like I feel like a lot of people would come to a nice conclusion like if we were starting to be more honest and just be real.
Yeah, just like general transparency could make students feel like they're on a more equal level. Absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure like we have several meetings that students are allowed to sit in and watch, especially like on Zoom. There's like the school site council, which like they talk about all the funding and stuff at the school. So if you're interested in that, you know, maybe look into that. I'm pretty sure all the stuff is on the SCPA website on the master calendar. So if you're interested in that and you want to know more about how the funds are divided, you should press into it, go look into it, and we encourage you to do that. Finally, we asked you all how we could uplift unsung voices at SCPA. Someone said that the most helpful thing would be to have their work seen, maybe have a poetry or short story segment on the Surface. And I can't imagine a more perfect segue into our next section.
Yes, each week we have a student spotlight. You, the audience, have sent in pieces of art that you want us to share, and this week we are so excited to share 3 beautiful pieces of art from some of our creative majors. So enjoy!
Our first piece of art is by senior fine arts major Alex Prado. This piece is titled The Weight of God. Trying to find answers through confusion, this piece and the series is comprised of attempts to draw inspiration from spiritual struggles, almost as a way to cope with the hard-to-tackle questions and antinomies inherent to God in the modern era. This piece, titled The Weight of God, is a self-portrait that illustrates the importance of carrying these worries with delicate hands, not with the intention to fix, but to nurture and learn from. I think that's just a beautiful piece, and Alex Prado is just a talented individual. He's going places.
Absolutely gorgeous, yes. And for our second piece, which is by fellow senior fine arts major Gannon Goebel. So we have 2 beautiful covers. The theme for this digital magazine mock-up showcases the importance of the Black Lives Matter movement and female empowerment in order to spread awareness to a social issue. He chose this theme because I felt that it's very prevalent in today's society. By doing so, it stresses that everyone, through a media outlet, should be more open-minded to the many injustices in this world. Some inspirations that influenced this artwork was Beyoncé's Lion King soundtrack because of her use of color within the music videos and the ability to address social injustices through a song. The elements and principles of design I chose to focus on are color, space, emphasis, and contrast. I use these elements and principles to incite passion and impact through my pieces so that the audience can understand the meaning better. Personally, I like to have the colors pop in order to show the impact and emphasis on the models in my pieces. I enjoyed this project because I get to reflect on history and how the world is evolving into a more inclusive and equal state where everyone's free to be themselves.
Wow. And just everyone at this school is so talented, and it needs to be said how much we need to uplift these works of art.
Yeah.
So, and now we'll be taking a look at a spoken poem by junior creative writing major Vaishnavi Kappa.
Hello, I'm Vaishnavi, and I'm going to be reading my poem, The Giant Black Bear. The giant black bear, sleepy and melancholic, persisted to look for acquaintances. His mother, whom he still reminisced about, was no more. He did know how she is no more, and he was angered by those thoughts. He wanted to meet those who were like him, abandoned, afraid. The giant black bear, in the far, foggy distance, he sees shadows that get larger, shadows that look awfully familiar, that he does not respect. Fear once again trickled upon his thick fur. In an opposite direction, he saw one acquaintance who looked like him, who could maybe protect him, and so he ran to his new acquaintance. The acquaintance waited as a giant black bear, now so hurriedly, ran the acquaintance. It too was abandoned and afraid. But before the bears got to comfort the other, the giant black bear fell. A sharp pain, painful as it was, struck through him, followed by a loud sound. He was breathing his last breaths as he looked up and saw his acquaintance. Who was also hit with the pain. The giant black bear would bleed, but kept breathing. His acquaintance, too, would breathe until he stopped. The giant black bear would die in the hands of his mother's killer. And so has his acquaintance, his comfort for the last moments in his life. Thank you.
That was
Incredible. Just so beautiful.
beautiful. No. And they were sent in from viewers just like you. One thing I noticed is that we've been showing seniors and juniors, but this show isn't just for seniors and juniors. We want to show everyone. So if you're in 6th grade to 12th grade, feel free to share your work with us. We want to show it. We want to show it to the world. So if you want to be featured on The Surface, you can submit through our page on the Main Stage Hub or send your submissions to thesurfacescpa@gmail.com.
Yes, there are so many ways that you can reach out to us and get information about The Surface. We have an Instagram account at thesurface.scpa with a super helpful card, and make sure to check out our section on the SCPA Mainstage website. Just go to sdscpamainstage.com and head over to the Student Series page. There you'll be able to find all of our episodes, our Student Spotlight submission area, and our weekly survey.
Speaking of our survey, let's introduce next week's topic. Next week's episode is called Make Your Mark, and we're going to discuss how SCPA will be able, I'm so sorry. I've been at SCPA for 4 years. Mary's been at SCPA for longer. So we want to see if we could talk to ourselves in middle school. So stay tuned between a conversation between a 12th grader and a 6th grader. We're excited to have you there. And we'll see you next time on
The Surface.